Our case study was Ben and Jerry's. In 1978, in an old gas station in Burlington, Vermont, schoolmates and friends Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield first opened their ice cream shop, Ben and Jerry's. All they had was a $12,000 investment in their college educations. The ice cream shop became very successful very fast. By 1980, they were selling their ice cream in pints, and by 1981, they opened their first franchise in Shelburne, Vermont. The demand from there only grew. By the late 1980s, Ben and Jerry's ice cream was available in all 50 states. Now, just over 40 years since the first store opened, they have over 577 scoop shops worldwide and deliver to over 38 different countries. Ben and Jerry's is known for unique and different ice cream styles and flavors. Texture was something that Ben and Jerry's added to the ice cream market that other competitors hadn't really tried before. The reason for that is Ben Cohen himself. Cohen has severe anemosia. Anemosia is the lack of smell and a sense of taste. He relied on what he referred to as mouthfeel or texture for the foods he sought after. Ben and Jerry's currently has over 60 different ice cream flavors. Ben and Jerry's tries to run itself as an anti-corporate business. They have no dress code and encourage employees to make their own title. The company is just as unique as its founders. Ben and Jerry's refer to themselves as a company of caring capitalism. They are very focused on the communities in which they operate in, especially in Vermont where they started. They source cream from Vermont only and source its other ingredients from places that would benefit the community from where it came. They also donate 7.5% of pre-tax profits to social causes such as Healing Our Mother Earth and the Center for Better Living. Ben and Jerry's value each and every one of their employees, so much so that they wanted to make sure every employee got a fair wage. They put into place a policy that states that the highest paid employee would not be paid more than 7 times the lowest employee. By the 1990s, Ben & Jerry's accounted for 3.6% in the overall ice cream market. However, they focused their business in the super premium segment of the ice cream market. Super premium ice cream contains a high amount of fat, making it rich and dense. These products are also higher priced compared to your basic ice cream products. By the 1990s, Ben & Jerry's had captured the second highest market share in the super premium ice cream segment at 34%, behind only Haagen-Dazs, which was at 44%. Sales had been steadily increasing over the previous decade, however, profitability began to slow in the early 90s. By 1994, they actually experienced a loss and a decrease in market share for both super premium and total ice cream segments. Due to these negative outlooks, the company decided to look at possible foreign markets in order to stave off further declines and continue to grow the company. Ben & Jerry's international business was very small compared to their main competitor. By 1997, Haagen-Dazs's non-US sales totaled $700 million, while Ben & Jerry's non-US sales totaled just $6 million. What business Ben & Jerry's was doing internationally was usually the result of opportunistic arrangements with friends and acquaintances with Cohen and Greenfield. Ben & Jerry's international experience was limited to just a handful of countries. They sold a licensing agreement to a Canadian company for the manufacture and sale of ice cream. However, that agreement only lasted 6 years due to declining economic conditions. A friend of Cohen in Israel was given a license to manufacture and sell the Ben & Jerry's brand. In 1997, sales in Israel totaled $5 million. However, the only income Ben & Jerry's received was from licensing, which was negligible. In 1990, Ben & Jerry's entered into their first joint venture, creating the firm Iceberg, located in the Russian Republic of Karelia, Vermont's sister state. The goal of the joint venture was not entirely business related, and in 1996, the venture was terminated. The company tried entering other European markets in the early 90s, but they were lacking any strategic planning. Sales from the UK and France in 1997 totaled just a few $1 million. Japan was being looked into as a potential foreign market to enter for Ben& Jerry's. In the mid-90s, Japan was the second largest ice cream market in the world, with sales of about $4.5 billion a year. This alone made the market attractive for international diversification. However, beyond the sales numbers, there are multiple factors to take into consideration. There are several challenges to Ben& Jerry's that Ben& Jerry's would face when trying to enter the market. First, the complex distribution system of the country and long distance for shipping frozen goods would be difficult to navigate. There are also many competitors already in the super premium segment, including 6 Japanese manufacturers. Entry into the market would be costly as Ben& Jerry's would have to modify their factories to be able to produce the smaller serving size customary to Japan. Also, the entry would not be the result of any social mission for the company. And lastly, the lack of international success for Ben& Jerry's may indicate that the company has already been spread too thin. Factors that make the Japanese market attractive is that the country is highly affluent and the demand for premium products is high. Milk consumption is also growing in the country, meaning more potential customers in the future. Also, Haagen-Dazs's current success in the market indicated the market welcomed imported ice cream, and they would not have to teach the market about super premium ice cream. There's also an expectation that tariffs on dairy products will decrease, allowing for lower costs of business. And finally, previous foreign market entries for Ben& Jerry's lacked any strategic plan. Entering Japan with a well-thought-out strategy could create great potential growth. When entering an international market, there are always financial and political risks involved. Since the shipment will be performed from the US, the operation will highly depend on the economies of both countries. Negative exchange rate movement can potentially put the process in jeopardy as the distribution costs will increase. Also, the fluctuation in the price of milk in the US can have a huge effect on the production. Another problem to consider is Ben& Jerry's financial ability to sustain the product distribution in Japan. This can especially be a concern with the 7-Eleven option, since having only one distribution might not be enough to penetrate a new international market. Marketing is another financial concern of Ben& Jerry's, since it currently has low product awareness in the Japanese market. Secondly, Ben& Jerry's has to consider a few changes due to political risks involved in the new market entry. Japan is currently facing a downturn at this time in their economy, which can potentially result in high tariffs, which will make the distribution unfeasible for the company. Ben& Jerry's also has to adjust for the cultural differences when entering Japan. One of the examples of the changes that the company has to make is a change to the sizes and packaging of the product that will fit the Japanese culture. It also has to change the names of flavors appropriately, not to offend the local customers. At the end of the day, Ben& Jerry's are left with 3 options. The first option is to enter the market through an arrangement with Ken Yamada, a Japanese-American marketer who has been previously successful in the Japanese market and is currently the head of the Domino's Pizza franchise in Japan. Yamada offers to take full control of marketing and sales of the Ben& Jerry's in return for a margin on all product sales in Japan. Although Yamada has not yet come forward with an exact strategy plan, Ben& Jerry's can expect to see its selected products in the Domino's delivery menu. Considering Yamada's high expertise in the Japanese market, having an agent like him would be a strong advantage in an unfamiliar market. However, since he did not offer, transferring full marketing control to an outside agent involves a very high risk. The second option is to distribute the Ben& Jerry's product through 7-Eleven, one of the largest retailers in Japan. The option provides instant entry to the Japanese market by placing Ben& Jerry's ice cream in the freezer compartments of over 7,000 convenience stores. Ben& Jerry's will keep full control of the market development, while 7-Eleven will provide no additional promotional efforts to advertise the product. Considering low product awareness, Ben& Jerry's will have a difficult decision to neglect the marketing aspect when considering this option. In addition, the company has to account for the production and shipping expenses. Ben& Jerry's will have to obtain about $2 million worth of new equipment to meet the packaging and production needs of the Japanese market. It will also have to consider the shipping logistics since the product will be produced in Vermont. A third option is to hold off the entry to Japan. Based on the languishing economy in Japan, entering the market involves a very high risk in regards to the export and the pricing. Looking through all the options, 7-Eleven seems like Ben& Jerry's best option to enter the Japanese market. By sending the product through Japan's largest convenience store, it would make barriers to entry are low, since 7-Eleven sells many different brands of product. Economies of scale also come into the decision to enter the market through 7-Eleven. In distributing through 7-Elevens across Japan, that would save in cost because of the increased level of production. Ben& Jerry's would be able to produce in bulk, thus saving production costs and also cost of shipment from the United States to Japan.